Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. BJ on Game Day, NRL Supercoach, back again for another week. As always, you're joined by Brent, myself, and Bogan. Mate, how are we?
Oh, yeah. Going all right. Bit depressed after last night, but oh well.
Yes. We've got a bit of a different one for us tonight, a Thursday night show. Obviously, with Origin last night. Thought we'd just see come out of the wash from that in terms of team lists and things, and I've been a bit busy with work, but we did see the Maroons get the job done in game three, 20-18. It was, penalty goal was the difference in the end. But
Oh, they did
what,
have extra. They did have extra players on the field, Like they were wearing referees' jerseys, but they were obviously playing for Queensland.
look, it was the best, probably the best Queensland side they'd named for the series up against, the worst New South Wales team, especially given that halves combination. Yeah, look, I reckon there was a few calls that were pretty pivotal, and quite crucial in the overall context of the game. But I also thought, you know, it was sort of ruined by the 15-6 agains in the first half. Anyway, as it turned out, it was a good little contest. Queensland, I think, were just a lot better in defence. The kick chase was really good. The defence on the back of that was quite good, and you'd hope a team with, Benny Hunt played quite well. You got the halves of DCE, Munster, and Ponga out the back. You would expect.
I did have to laugh because I saw several people, obvious Queensland supporters, going, "Oh, Ben Hunt, he's back. He's back. He didn't choke." And it's like, yeah, it was a dead rubber Origin match. Of course he played fucking awesome.
Look, to be fair, I think he's played quite good in that Origin sort of level, especially at hooker as well. So, look, they were. It was a close contest. Obviously, it would have been nice to sweep them, especially with all three games being in Queensland. But credit to them, they got the job done. New South Wales had some opportunities at the end of that game, and we
Oh,
couldn't crack it.
Chewy on your boot. Latrell Mitchell can't even kick one from halfway.
Yeah, it looked good off the boot. It looked good, but yeah,
Uh,
it just fell a bit short there. But
yeah.
like I said, we had some back-to-back sets there and plenty of opportunity. As I said, I think the halves were pretty ordinary for New South Wales. All you got to do is give some early ball to Latrell and Turbo, and sort of sorts itself out. And I just feel like they didn't do that enough at times last night. But anyway, it is what it is. We got
Well,
the series win. That's all that matters. We'll take that. And yeah, it's just, I guess, another example of this Blues squad that we expect so much out of. Just throwing in a bit of a
oh, I think it.
ordinary sort of performance,
I think
but
it just goes
job was done.
goes to show how lethal that Luai Cleary halves combination is when they're on the field and firing. You could put them
Mm,
in any. You could put them in a fucking under 12s team, and they'd beat Queensland.
mm. Yeah, well, I made a joke that myself and Ados should be able to play in the halves in that Blues squad, and they should still get the win, but maybe not, maybe not. Bogan, round 17 review this week, round 18 preview. Obviously, we had the delay in the show this week, but we have just had a bye round, so it was pretty crucial. There was some interesting scoring over the weekend, and now we look ahead for the run home. Round 18, a little bit of the aftermath of Origin. Obviously, there's some guys who will and won't play, or possibly will and won't play. We still might not know some until just before kickoff or whatever. But yes, looking ahead to round 18, mate, how did you fare in round 17, the second bye round of the year?
Shit house.
No good.
No good. Not the worst person in the leagues, but yeah, fucking terrible. That being said, like I'm done. I'm done for the season. I'm done. I've got like three trades left. Uh, Injuries all over the place. Um, yeah, I'm done.
You done, mate? You had enough?
Yeah. Just sometimes you just got to realise you got to admit defeat.
We still got
It's gonna I apologise to the viewers. It's gonna make the show pretty boring from my perspective. But I've never been the expert. I'm just the guy that pushes the buttons and makes the pitches.
look, it's still a third of the season to go, mate. So long way to go yet. So things are going
Not
bad
with only
now.
three trades, mate.
Well, yeah, let's see then how far you can plummet. Look, I didn't fare too bad. I scored 816. I think I ended up having 11 or 12 out there. I actually can't remember exactly, but it wasn't too bad for me. I think I jumped up the most I've jumped in the last 1,000 years. It was about 3K, so still sitting just outside the top 10K, but I'm pretty happy with how my side's placed, and maybe I can just go on a bit of a run now and crack into the top 10K. Obviously, maybe find that 5K and salvage something. I'll probably take top 5K at this point of the year, mate, given how I've gone the last sort of 8 weeks, especially. But anyway, it is what it is. Onwards and upwards. Yes, looking ahead for round 18, mate. Also, just this afternoon, Bogan, obviously, with everything happening around the country with COVID, we've had all the clubs relocated up to Queensland now, Melbourne being the last of those clubs to head up this afternoon. And we've also had a number of games relocated, obviously, as a result of that. So there's been a bit of reshuffling today as well, if you haven't heard.
Got to say, though, we're both here in Canberra. Still no COVID in Canberra. It's got pretty fucking close. So why the fucking Raiders have to go up there?
Yeah, look, there's a few cases around. Goulburn's got it, and it's all happening in New South Wales. So.
South Gundagai. Might be a bit of personal interest there, as they announced this afternoon. But still no cases confirmed in the ACT. Why can't the Raiders play out of Bruce Stadium? We've just got rid of the mask restrictions.
Yeah, look, fair point. I mean, I think it's just you're playing with fire. If something was to happen and they were caught down here, or it did, God forbid, something happen, they might have to shut the comp down. I think it's just they've taken that safety approach and got them all out of there, which, whatever. As long as the footy's still going, I don't really care, to be honest. So,
I just think it's a bit of a rip-off. But anyway, so the Newcastle game, Storm Newcastle, was originally meant to be getting played down there. It was meant to be Storm's first home game back down. Yeah, well, that's what they get for being so cocky. I think I sort of said I found it a little bit humorous with the way I've seen some Victorians acting on Twitter when it comes to Sydney's lockdowns and stuff like that. That, suck a dick, you're back in lockdown too.
Yeah, it's a bit of a snap lockdown for the Victorians as well. But yeah, so the Storm Newcastle game will be relocated up to the Gold Coast Seabus on Saturday evening. And
Clem in the comments has said, would you rather freeze your nuts off in Canberra or enjoy warm Queensland? Mate, this week Canberra it's a mountainous, it's Valhalla. Mountain men, tough mountain men, compared to those fucking pussies up in Queensland. Need the referee to fucking rig the game for them. Celebrating like they won the fucking grand final because they won a dead rubber. Fuck them.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. Like I said, I think if that's what they got to do to keep the game going, let's do it.
You're very diplomatic, Brent. Whereas I'm in a mood to fuck Queensland, fucking pricks. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. God, it shows God has a sense of humour because he made a place as beautiful as Queensland and put fucking Queenslanders in it.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Shout out to everyone in the chat while we're on that point as well, guys. Obviously, thanks for joining us as always. We've got some of the usual suspects in there: Clemmy, Troy, Ados, Howie, mate, Shieldsy from across the whatever oceans they are, mate. Whatever time it is. Good evening.
Yeah. I hope you're well there in the UK. It's coming home. I don't know where you are, Shieldsy. I don't know if you're England. I don't know if you. Oh well, he probably finds that fucking hilarious. What happened to England during the week? So.
True. Yeah, we did have the coming home fiasco again for England in the European Championship. So, and heartbreak. I mean, what a way for them to lose it in penalties after scoring the first two. Yeah, it was some scenes. I've seen quite funny videos of fan reactions to them watching the shootout and that sort of thing, and it's quite enjoyable. Some of that.
Suck shit.
The other thing I only want to mention that I've been loving lately before we jump into the Supercoach bogan is there's a bit of a, I don't know if you'd call it promotion, but there's post-try celebrations at the moment. So they're doing a thing for Mossy Maso, I think Men of League or whatever it is, even sports, but I can't recall exactly. They're doing anytime there's a post-try celebration, $5,000, which will end up going to help Mossy Masoe.
Oh, okay.
There's been some good ones, but did you see the one on the weekend just gone? Brandon Hammy and Ueli at All Blokes. You'll have to look it up. He's done a bit of people's elbow.
See, this is where we need to get the viewers to petition the NRL to allow YouTubers to play clips. But because we could have teed it up. But yeah,
you'll enjoy the Hammy and Ueli from the Sharks. Post-try celebration, he's done the big shot on Jack Williams and then done a bit of the people's elbow.
Nice.
So it was you'll like that one. But there's been some absolute pearlers in the last couple of weeks, so enjoying those. Benny, good evening, mate. Welcome. Having a sterling year, brother. Hope you're well, onwards and upwards for the run home. But I think that's about it, and we can jump into a quick round 17 review out of the 4 games.
Yeah, should be able to get through this one fairly quickly, because most of the interest will obviously be on a few injuries coming out of fucking Origin that killed my team.
Yep, so jumping into it, with the first game of the bye round was the Seagulls taking on the Raiders. Possibly a bit of an upset in this one, but
very much.
A turbo-less Eagles is always going to be interesting, and missing DC as well. But it was the Raiders that got away with it. They sort of won it convincingly in the end, I guess. Top score, Sammy Williams for the Raiders. I think crossed for a double, turned up there. Dylan Walker looked quite good out there for the Eagles. He was the top scorer with 84. It was a bit of a disappointing bye round, I guess you could say, for people that especially had Jason Saab. But as we know, you run your risk of playing someone like Saab and even Garrick at times when Turbo's not there.
As you can see from the graphic there, I had Garrick as my captain. I was expecting Manly to fucking touch him up and Garrick to kick a ton of goals. But didn't fucking happen.
Garrick did go to fullback, but there obviously wasn't much doing. But, I mean, not too bad there, 51. And, yeah, I think it's been confirmed Turbo won't play this week either. So Garrick will go back to fullback again. But, yeah, it makes it a bit hard to play a couple of these blokes. That said, if DC plays, you're probably going to get a little bit more out of Garrick. But Jason Saab playing at your peril. On the Raiders side of the park, Tommy Starling sort of, I think, turned the game for him in the bits that I was watching. Got him sort of underway. I don't know I thought he scored a double, Tommy Starling, but just, they're a different side when he gets in the dummy half.
I've been saying it all year, and notice he's not in my fucking team. But Tommy Starling, he's a future superstar.
For sure.
I really rate him.
I think they got to think about moving Hodgson into the halves or something, given the issues they've had now with Georgie Williams moving on as well. But yeah, loving seeing Tommy Starling get out of dummy half. Yeah, look, it was, apart from that, there probably wasn't even any big ones in terms of the bye round. It was Garrick's. A lot of people had the VC or the C possibly, like yourself. I actually did a bit of a perler, Bogues. I was so intent on making sure my team was all nice and laid out on the going into this game, I forgot to take the captaincy off Turbo. So I missed my free shot. Loop? So I ended up having the VC on Cody Walker. He was going to be my VC, and I wanted to have a look, and that sort of turned out right, obviously. But yeah, it was a bit of, I don't think I've ever done that before, like done something that stupid. But Candos was pretty quick to remind me, so thanks, Candos. He straight away was screenshotting that and sending that into a chat we're in. So yeah, thanks, buddy. But ended up working out all right for me. But yeah, I got to pull myself up on that one. That's a
the
pearler.
Tin Man strikes again.
Oh look, got away with it. 10,000 ranking. That's what it is this week. Next game of the round was your boys, the Rabbitohs, Bogues, just going on with it against the Cows. I didn't catch all this one, but was following on updates. I actually went and watched Space Jam 2 with the boy on the Friday. I think Was it Friday night? I think this was a
Oh,
Friday night game.
give us your 5-star rating of
Oh,
Space Jam
jeez. It's got nothing on
of the original.
the original,
Did
but
you
it's a fairly
drag the boy home and force him to watch the original with Michael Jordan?
well. We bought it a few weeks earlier. It was like $5 at the JB or whatever, and we watched it and got him keen for it. So, look, it goes for 2 hours. I'll tell you what, it doesn't. It's for like a kids' movie. It dead set went for 2 hours. We went and watched the 7 o'clock one, and it didn't finish till 9 o'clock. So sit in. It wasn't bad. It's a bit corny. There's a bit of they ride LeBron in it. He's referred to the king throughout it, and that's a bit, yeah, it's definitely got nothing on the original, but anyway, it was good for the boys, so he enjoyed it. But yeah, didn't catch this one, but obviously it was nice to come out of the movies and check up on this one. Tane Milne was a big one, Bogues. He was I think he was like mid 200s going into it. Plenty of people had him. But he was also, I don't think he was massively owned. I'd have to double check his ownership, actually. But he scored a double, 131. Obviously, Cody Walker, 130. Alex Johnson. A lot of people probably had Walker and Johnson, but there was definitely a lot of people that had all three. But the people that had all three, obviously, that was massive this week. A lot of people had the VC or something on Walker or Johnson, but particularly Walker. But absolutely massive scoring in a buy round. So if you had those three boys there, top of your screen there for the Rabbits, you were pretty much set up for the rest of the weekend. You couldn't really ask for much better during the bye week. Apart from that, Campbell Graham was pretty quiet in a Rabbitohs side that absolutely destroyed the Cowboys. Just looking at guys of relevance going up the list there. Yeah, I think the top ones are the main ones. Lolo was good. 87 points. We talked about him. He was pretty cheap. He was probably a bit of a low risk value for money buy at that point, and another body for 17. I guess if you jumped on him, well done. I don't think he's going to be a play every week until you see a little bit more out of him. But I think it was you would take that if you did pick him up for 17, or you still had him. So that'll do. Probably all right with that one, Bogues. Moving on. It was the Roosters barely getting the job done against the Dogs. Some Sam Walker brilliance on full time to make sure they got the job done. Did you catch that, Bogues?
No, I didn't. I didn't watch any of the games this week. I watched the Origin, and that was it. Had a few things on this week with the Conor McGregor fight and a few other things surrounding that, so I didn't see any of the games.
Look, they were up by 6, and it got to the final play of the game, and they're about 10 out from the Dogs' try line. You could kick a field goal.
I have seen the memes of Walker turning around and running the opposite direction. Yeah. So he's providing the memes there, young Walker. He's obviously a bit of a shit poster, because that was fucking hilarious.
I mean, it was interesting. He took the risk out of the play, obviously. I mean, with they're only up by 6. If something did,
not really though, because if he had have been tackled and had the ball stripped,
there was no one going to tackle him the way he took off. It was like he was scoring a try up the other end. There was no one that was going to catch him. So, anyway, it is what it is. I mean, I appreciate the smarts in it, but it's also a terrible look. It was an absolute terrible look. Anyway, they only just got the job done. It was an interesting game. I thought maybe the Bulldogs will sneak something here, but Ukavalu top scored for the Chooks with 83. I think he only scored the one try as well. Tupanua was good as well. He scored a try. Joey Manu was pretty good at the back as well, filling in there for Teddy. I actually brought in Sammy Walker. Take the 65, that'll do. He'll be a sort of sit and start depending on the opposition. Not expecting to play him every week. And geez, he needs to work on the goal kicking because struggled to make the post. Just doesn't look like he's going to hit him to me whenever I watch him. I'm surprised he even had the goal kicking. Yeah, Radley obviously makes a big difference to the side, but obviously missing a couple blokes. was a bit hard. And I also brought in Tupu Bogues, and that didn't really pay off. I mean, you'll take a 50, but hoping for a few more against the Dogs, but just didn't really get any good ball, to be honest, old Tupes. So I'm hoping, yeah, he's just going to, be able to make up for that at times in the run home.
So how long is Radley going to last before he's out again? Whether suspension or injury, he seems to never play.
Him and Hetherington went at it in this one. I was surprised Hetherington didn't go in this one either, though. It was those two boys were going at it big time, which was good to see. But yeah, it's only a matter of time. I think just the nature of the way the boys play. One will slip up and you'll be done again. It's just that they just play with so much aggression. It's inevitable, unfortunately. Same with guys like Adam Fanua-Blake. I've got him as well. I just think, fuck, love the aggression, but now with the rules, it's like, please don't get sin binned for that, or hopefully you're not going to miss weeks. But yeah, look, Rhea Hargraves was pretty good as well, Bogues. I think he was one of the best on ground for the Chooks as well. Played big minutes, obviously 75 points there, and pretty much all of that just in base as well. But he's probably not relevant at this point.
Notice, and most people who are regular watchers of the show know that I'm not a gambler, but I did notice that the Roosters are paying $22 as a premiership shot this year. It's still early days, and they'll be in the 8.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the other teams are just too far ahead. Think of Melbourne and Penrith, obviously. I mean, Cleary's a big difference to that Penrith side. I don't think Penrith can win the comp without Cleary. That's not rocket science.
It'll be,
but Melbourne as well.
It'll be South Melbourne if Cleary for some reason has a delay in his return.
And in my opinion, there's only two sides that might challenge for that, and that's Souths on their day, and maybe Manly if Turbo is doing what he's been doing. But I don't think they can do it. Teddy doesn't look like the Teddy we're used to seeing. I think Sam Walker's getting found out a bit. Obviously, against the good sides, they're going to target him a bit. He's a bit of a liability in defence. They're going to hammer the kid. And they've just got so many injuries. Obviously, they've lost a couple of pretty key guys with Cordner and Friend this year. They've got Takiaho now out. They've Morris, obviously, Brett Morris with the ACL.
I'm just saying it is still early days in the seasons to blow out the odds of a team like the Roosters.
Kiri as well. I reckon you unders at $20 or whatever you said. They should be paying 30s.
Well.
Anyway, maybe I'll just go and chuck a fiver on because you said it. But I think there's just different levels this year in the competition, and the Roosters aren't near the top level. But we'll see. They could barely get it done against the Dogs. Manly put 66 on them last week.
Yeah.
So, moving on from this one. Parramatta maybe, but I think they just choke up too much.
Yep.
Sharkies, it was a bit of a contest this one. Sharkies getting the job done 20-12.
Poor old Warriors. They're like the modern day Raiders, aren't they? With the not always, but they're often very competitive, but never get those close games.
Yeah, look, it was. I think they got ahead at one point, and it looked like maybe, but the Sharks sort of chimed together nicely towards the end, and just consolidated the win. SJ, there was some speculation. SJ was maybe going to be ruled out, but ended up playing. He didn't do too much. He wasn't goal kicking either, so ended up kicking like 4 goals.
There was some speculation that the fucking Warriors were going to get locked on the team bus just before the game for this one.
That as well. There was some issues there. They had to stay on the team bus, and a whole heap of food got thrown out because some of the staff, wherever they were, had been in close contact or something like that. But look, again, it wasn't overly flattering for a bye-round fixture that you were hoping. I mean, it was probably the toughest, closest matchup of the week pre-game that you thought, this will probably be a bit of a contest, and there wasn't any blowouts. Guys like SJ, very quiet. Ramian, obviously. Talakai was a late switch to start, but that didn't fucking help his scoring at all, so that was kind of fucked. I was excited when I saw that, but yeah, that was fucking no good. Just some really ordinary scoring in a pretty tight battle. Tuivasa Tuivasa-Sheck top scored for the Warriors with 75.
Did Nikorima get injured or something?
No, he just played passenger. I don't believe there was any injury to Nikorima.
7 points. Fucking hell.
So he would have burnt a few. Obviously, yeah, it was pretty big. A lot of people thinking about Cody. And you probably thought about this one's not a bad matchup for him. Yeah, that would have stung a little bit. Hopefully he didn't do anything too crazy like chuck a captaincy on him this week. Obviously no Harris. Tavana wasn't awesome. Lodge, again, nothing special for Neil Blake saying, but yeah, pretty average scoring across the park in this one, unfortunately, in a bye week. You don't really want to see that, but anyway, it is what it is, and that was round 17, folks. Just having a look in the chat. Yeah, no, Roosters have got nothing. That's what everyone's saying.
So this is the thing. This was the same sort of talk that was happening when I brought in Nico Hines, and then he caught fire. So there you have it, guys. Roosters to win the premiership.
Oh, you heard it here first from the Bogan. Roosters to win that comp. They should be paying 50s, I reckon.
I just don't think you can write off an organisation like that, though. Organisationally, they are still a quality organisation, and I think they'll... Well, I don't think they're going to win. I'm just saying that they're fucking long odds for this early on when they've still got a shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they've just been so good for so long, and it's just a bit of that attrition's caught up with them. Obviously, this year, it's just they just don't look like the same side. Especially you got to think, you're missing Kiri as well. So pretty big.
Anyways.
All right, jumping into round 18. So a full round of fixtures again. This will be interesting to see who does and doesn't back up. Plenty of guys that did play Origin have still been listed. Still haven't heard on all of them whether they will back up. But in this one, you've got guys like Brimson, Tino, Mofo, all in there. I thought Mofo and Tino had played pretty well last night. Obviously, David Fafita caught the suspension last week, so he'll be fresh and ready to go. Probably looking like a really good VC candidate this week, Bogues.
Mm-hmm.
On the Parramatta side of the park, I believe I've read a headline not long ago that Mitchell Moses is unlikely to be playing. I believe he's not going to be playing. I don't imagine many people have him in Classic, or maybe they do. He's a bit of a pod, but I don't believe he'll be back.
So who do you think they'll bring in for that?
Probably the coach's son.
I was going to say. What do we refer to him as? Arthur.
Yeah.
He'll be playing.
I mean, he's more of a 6, so I don't know. He looks good as a 6, so I don't know if they maybe...
Because he played one game that I'm aware of. Has he played any more than that? But he played really well in that.
He played a couple, and he played pretty good. But, Will Smith's there as well, so he could easily chime in. I can't imagine Paulo would back up, but maybe Willie, he was pretty involved.
No, I think I heard earlier on Twitter that Junior Paulo is out.
Oh, Paulo's out. Okay, yeah, ADOS is confirming Paulo's out there, so there you go. So no Paulo, so JP, I think a few people might still be running JP on the hopes from earlier in the year, but he is out. But yeah, this will actually be a couple of interesting ones in this one with the IPAP, obviously DFI. Anyone that has Gutherson still or held on to Gutho, a couple of VC options in this one.
Where's the Shockmaster to talk up the Cardi party?
Absolutely, and definitely Mitchell Moses. I think he had 0 run meters, Bogan. No runs for 0 1 meters. All he did was kick down the throat of the back three for Queensland on Wednesday. So
yeah, well,
I would have thought he'd back up.
Kalen Ponga got a lot of practice. I noticed of just catching the footy. It was like he was just playing in the park, catching the footy, run back.
Good call, Shieldsy. I agree, Shieldsy, and that's why Parramatta won't be a threat as long as Mitchell Moses can't step up when they need him to. I reckon I'm done with that one. Read Marnie back. Sorry, Bogues. That's a big in for Parramatta and a really relevant Supercoach bloke in a hooker position that's been a bit of a graveyard for the past month or two, there's been a bit of struggle finding a decent option with Harry Grant obviously been under the injury cloud and not playing big minutes. Jaden Brayley's fallen off a cliff. Brandon Smith's probably been the highlight. Benny Hunt has been good for a fair bit, but this guy was in, career best form to start the year before he had the injury, and he is back, and he'd have to be on the list for a few people because there's not many other standouts. It's just, I don't think Para's run is amazing. Off the top of my head, I'd have to have a quick look. My internet's a bit dodgy tonight, so I don't have it right in front of me, but I think that's the only thing. With someone like Marnie, though, you're not expecting, it doesn't necessarily rely on the fixtures because of the base in him, but when the next couple of games aren't too bad with Canberra and Titans and Canberra, then they play the Chooks, South, Manly. That's the next 5, so you could do worse. But Reed Maney's got to be an option. And moving on. Moving on, it will be the second game on the Friday evening will be the Eagles taking on the Dragons. The big one with this one, Tommy has been officially ruled out, I believe, so that will see Ruben Garrick move back to fullback, and I think Sully will probably come onto the wing. So at least we know. It's good to know. So you can sort of plan around that. And, the other awkward thing is there's plenty of people running guys like Teddy Turbo, whether Teddy will back up or not. I couldn't imagine Teddy would either, to be honest. He's a bit battered and just doesn't look himself. Even last night, just doesn't look like the Teddy we're used to seeing. I think he just needs a bit of a rest, even if it is a week. But, yeah, no Turbo. So Garrick owners will probably be happy with that. Cherry Evans should back up, which should add a little bit of a dynamic for Garrick. Against a St. George team that's obviously got a few blokes out after the house party suspension, whatever you want to call it.
The Dragons under the bed, as we referred to it last week.
Yes. Joshy Schuster returns for the Eagles, so a bit of salt there for anyone that had Joshy Schuster. Last week would have been really good with the bye week, but he is back. That's a big in, and plenty of people that held him would be happy about that because he'll be really relevant again for the run home, and especially with Turbo in the side. Anyone that's running around Turbo is only going to be a good thing, and it looks like Sirenen's haven't cited Sirenen for a long time, so his injury must be a bit more serious. And
injuries have been pretty bad this year when it comes to players being out for longer than expected. Yes.
Dragon side of the park, yeah. Look, at this point, Bogues, if you're bringing someone in, you got to think, they're pretty much a gun or someone you're going to use as a big pod for the run home. Unless you've got the luxury of trades, which there's not many people I'm talking to. I think ADOS is one of the only people I'm talking to that's doing pretty well, that's got, more than a handful of trades left. So I think at this point you've got to value the trade. And if you're bringing someone in, I don't think it's really going to be anyone from that St. George side, unless it's someone like maybe a Benny Hunt at hooker who's been pretty good, maybe a Jack Burr's a bit of a pod in the centre wing, but there's probably not much else there really, to be fair. Jack de Belin at prop will be interesting, a bit more minutes in the middle. I mean, he's a guy that will build up, but yeah, at this point of the year, I just don't think it's ever going to be relevant.
When can I start making jokes? But yeah, you can't do it these days. Get away with it. Anyways,
but keen to see young Sloan at the back for the Dragons. Got around, he bounces around a bit, so could be a close one with no Turbo. Who knows? Who knows? Gerard Beale, jeez Louise. Anyway, the Saturday, now these fixtures won't be probably right after the reshuffle. I think this one's been moved to 5:30 now, and the Knights go. I don't know, it's all over the shop. Anyway, we'll still just run through the team list at the moment.
Macho Man Xavier Savage there at number 1 for the Raiders.
Yeah, big raps on him. Obviously, last week got to see him go around. I must admit, I didn't watch all the game. I watched a fair bit of it. He didn't stand out. I mean, he's only a young fella. He's pretty small. He didn't really get too much space in anything when I sort of saw. But, first game in the big league, and he's been given the number 1 jersey again, so he'll get another opportunity to go around. yeah, obviously Whiten back in the side should back up, hopefully, for the Raiders. I wouldn't say they'd need him. I think the Raiders look better with Frawley and Williams last week. And the win over Manly. Josh Papali, whether he'll back off or not, but he was one of Queensland's best as well last night in the middle. Out there, you got CHN as well. He was pretty disappointing in the bye round as well last week. This could be an interesting game though on the Cronulla side of the park. You've got SJ there. Talakai's back on the bench. Ramian, yeah, he's been a bit disappointing. Maybe he'll produce this week. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm a bit concerned about SJ. Just keeping an eyes on SJ after the rumours that were floating around last week. I don't know. SJ's a special for a late rule out or a hamstring twinge or a quad something or other. So I'll be keeping eyes on this one just to make sure that old SJ is definitely playing. You're not sure what happened to Horsburgh? I don't know if he's just fallen out of favour or whatever. Ados might be able to give us a bit more intel on what happened to the horse. Moving on, I'm trying to figure out, so what the hell's going on with the team, with the games? Yeah, so the Cowboys will now play... Yeah, so the Raiders Sharks will be at 5:30, and North Queensland will now host the Roosters at 3 o'clock on Saturday. So those two games have been switched around. I don't know why. That is.
I think it's a double header, isn't it, with the Raiders game and the Broncos game?
Yeah. Okay. So this one will be actually the 3 o'clock game, so you'll get to find out whether Teddy does or doesn't play pretty quickly. Obviously, Val Holmes
is out, yeah.
Yeah, Val Holmes injured the AC joint. Looks like he'll be gone for a few weeks. Could be 2 to 4 to 6.
There goes one of my fucking trio of trades I've got left.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were probably planning on Val in the centre wing because of that duality and goal kicking and the fullback. So that'll sting a few. Anyone that has him, that hurts, and anyone that was planning on bringing him in now has to readjust the plans because he was probably a really nice candidate for the run home. So he is out. It will be interesting to see whether Tedesco backs up. I mean, they really struggled last week against the Dogs without him, and yeah, I mean, as good as Manu was at the back, I just think they need Tedesco, and they weren't convincing last week, but we'll see. Yeah, as I said, at this point of the year, are you really going to bring in many of those Cowboys guys? I wouldn't have thought so. You've got to be looking at Lolo as maybe as like a 4th, 5th, second row forward option for value for money. Val Holmes now off the table for a little while. Playing guys like Tupu this week, obviously maybe Sidden starts, but you hope Teddy backs up if you've got him. I'll play Walker this week. Hoping Gus backs up. I don't think he played huge minutes. Angus came off the bench, and I think his impact was good, but didn't play big minutes. And expect him to back up, and yeah, it's a good matchup for some of the Chooks players this week. So I'll probably chuck Satilli in my 17 this week as well. Tony's still sitting on Cleary. Wow. I think if you've sat on him now, the word is on Cleary. He's not too far away, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of money, and if he does come back early, my understanding is they were trying to get him back for 20 now. It's actually going to be a bit sooner, so it's a fun way to spend some money if you're getting rid of him. But if you're getting rid of him, I think that's probably the end of it. Yeah, this one obviously won't be at Amy Park anymore. This has been one of the affected fixtures. This game will now be up at Seabus, and it will be... so this will be the double header. So this will actually be the game at Seabus. So it'll be North Queensland playing the Roosters at Seabus, yep. I think. Oh no, it is at Queensland Country Park. Sorry, it must be the Raiders. This fucking article's no good. Anyway, there's some stuff going on with this one. This will now be up at Seabus on the Saturday. And yeah, Nico Hines owners will be happy. Another good fixture there. Pappy not named this week. So he looks like he might be back next week or the week after, but it's still a bit hit and miss with him. Munster has been named back up, but yeah, all those guys you had from that Melbourne side plays this week, whether it's Nico Hines, Jerome Hughes, they're the main ones. Anyone with Brandon Smith, if you got Munster, you'll play him if he plays. On the Newcastle side of the park, obviously KP's the big one. Whether he backs up or not will make a big difference to the Newcastle side, and he was quite good for Queensland last night. Added a different dimension to their side, definitely. So, hoping you get a bit of confidence out of that one and actually turns up and plays for the Knights in that way, because he's bloody. He makes a big difference to our side. And Supercoach
might be a Dane Gagai for you there, like
playing the close 3 games a year. What's the Have you seen the meme where it's like the Stonecutters one in The Simpsons where he pulls the cat out of he fixes the plumbing downstairs, the leaking plumbing, after he says it'll take a couple of weeks, and then pulls the cat out. And you go, there's your problem. Anyway, there's a good meme going around. If I can watch that, I'll have to.
Yeah, you described it well. We'll edit it out in post.
I'll have to edit that out. Anyway, that's the danger. There's a meme. Someone will know what I'm talking about. Look, Kalen Ponga-Bogues, he's obviously, if he's back, he's definitely relevant.
Well, I need a fullback, and I was looking at Ponga, but
there's 2 blokes that I am looking at. I don't know if I can do it with one of them, and he's your man, which we'll get to in a minute. But Kalen Ponga, he is 679k. He is at 2% ownership, so he's a massive pod, which is insane. And he's 680k basically. So, I mean, that's insane. Like, he's a big pod. Obviously, the matchup isn't awesome. Playing Melbourne this week, backing up from Origin, whether he will or won't back up, who knows? But if he could get the kicking, he would be awesome. But and the Knights run home's as good as. It's probably a couple of teams with really good run home, and Newcastle's definitely one of them. So I would not blame anyone for bringing in Kalen Ponga this week. Just the whole side the whole team just plays differently with him in there. Obviously, in Clifford and Pearce, as I said, some of the width they're able to get off the ruck now through the spine. Basically, it's just it's a different Newcastle side, but up against it this week against benchmark of the comp with Penrith, obviously. Dominic Young looked good on the wing as well. I don't know if he's going to bed that down, but he looked really good last week and benefited from Ponga as well. So he's a big boy and looked really good. You're probably not bringing him in, but just he looked really good out on the wing for us. A big body out there. Frizzell is back, so anyone with Barnett will be spewing about that because Barney was getting some nice edge minutes, but now that he's back and obviously Fitzgibbon's back in the side, you probably find Barney won't be playing big minutes, probably won't find himself out on the edge at all unless there's an injury, and plays some sort of shit-ass rotation, which will make him not relevant. Safidi's back, Dan Safidi's back, which is a big in for us. I mean, that's massive. Supercoach-wise, I don't know. I think you're just sitting on Hines again. And you're hoping Hughes and Hines sort of get some points out of this one. And I won't be surprised if that Ponga ownership explodes a bit after this week. Moving on, and the Sunday will be Warriors and Penrith. And obviously, most notably, no halves there for the Penrith side. So still no Cleary. Luai's out also.
At 150. So I'll be lucky to be up. I'll be lucky to be up on a Sunday at 150.
That will be nice. A bit of early footy on the Sunday. Never goes astray. Yes. So Matty Burton, Tyrone May in the halves there for Penrith. Toto is expected to back up, which is good. Whether Yo does, I mean, Appy didn't play big minutes, but Kurt Capewell, whether he did or didn't as well, you have to just keep an eye out on this one. It's a bit hard with being the game on the Sunday. For the Warriors, I think Tohu's in the extended bench, so you have to keep an eye out on that one. Again, it's a little bit tricky given it's the Sunday game, but maybe you'll have a few floating R's still to come on the Sunday, and you might be able to find a way to get Tohu there. So obviously, if you do have Tohu, make sure he's on your bench and you can chuck a reserve on him if he does somehow find his way in. But I thought he might miss at least a couple of weeks with the shoulder. But we'll see what happens. If that does happen, we'll be happy with AFB. Hopefully get a bit more involvement. But he wasn't amazing last week with him out either. I'm just wondering what's doing there for Classic. Like Reece Walsh, he wasn't unreal last week, but I think he's a good little pod for the run home. This is obviously isn't a good matchup for the Warriors though, so it's maybe not the week for it. But yeah, there's some question marks over Penrith with Cleary and Luai missing. Obviously, I mean it's pretty big to have not only your starting halves but their gun halves both out, especially Cleary, and they have struggled previously with those guys out, so there's a bit of pressure on them to produce in this one, and it will be interesting to see what happens just from a footy perspective. But I'm wondering, I don't know, maybe you're looking at maybe someone like Stevie Crichton would be a nice little interesting pod for the run home. You'd just be looking at someone like that, someone a bit random in a team that can actually score some points that might be able to blow up for you every now and then. Penrith's run home's not terrible. The next 5 games are the Warriors, Brisbane, Melbourne, Chooks, Dragons. And then my little phone app runs out after that. And after the Dragons, they have Souths. Then they play the Tigers, and then they finish up with the Eels. So, I mean, Crichton would be at left field, but you'd be looking for someone like that with a bit of a ceiling. Probably not massively owned and a point of difference heading in maybe in that centre wing. Moving on, and Brisbane taking on the Tigers at 4 o'clock. Is this the last game of the round?
No.
Is this the finish us off? Huh? So there's another one after that on Sunday, is there? Oh yeah, it'll be the Bunnies, Dogs. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So yeah, Brisbane taking on the Tigers. I mean, there's a bit of Supercoach, interesting Supercoach-wise in this one. Tessie Newitt fullback again. Katoni Staggs is back and he looked pretty good. So, Big Katoni was, I thought he was awesome on his return, to be honest. I'm not sure what he's priced at. I'll just have a quick squeeze at Katoni. But I know there's a couple other standouts at the moment in red hot form, and it's a little bit hard to bring someone like this in at this point of the year in a shit side. But Katoni's the kind of guy who just makes it happen. He didn't play the full game, and he just came back, scored 64 points. He is 518k at 2.5% ownership, so he's definitely a pod. Brisbane, like I said, they're just a shit football team at the moment, so it doesn't really matter about their run. But they don't have, they got Penrith next week, Cowboys, Newcastle, Chooks the weeks after that. I don't know, this is the type of player he is. He's Supercoach friendly and busts a heap of tackles, sniffs out the trial and gets a bit of white line fever. So you'll take a bit of that. 518k, you might wait another week on him, but it's a pretty good matchup for him this week, I think. Apparently Chris Kohler is saying Staggs might be under an injury cloud. Sorry, Clemmy as well. I didn't realise Staggs was under a cloud. But yes.
When's he not?
Payne Haas has got to be on the radar now, Bogues. Obviously, with Lodge leaving, there's nothing doing in that forward pack, especially in the middle there for Brisbane. So Payne Haas will be on the radar 100%. He's still pretty cheap. He's such a beast. He comes on off the bench in Origin, and it's just like, wow, the bloke's just an absolute bloody weapon. Just checking him up here. He's still under 500k, so 492k, a 34 break even. He should play, at least 60 minutes for the run home, just given everything going on in that forward pack there. So I think he's still a good buy. If you've got someone like Paulo, you're probably looking to go straight to Haas this week if you can. 34 break even, under 500k, and in a front row position that's been a bit smelly this season, apart from IPAP and TPJ when they were both going well. So shout out to Payne this week. If he does back up, you'd have a look. One bloke I am looking at, Bogues, who's a bit different I didn't want to pick him at fullback because I think you've got to still have like a Ponga or a Pap when he returns. But I really like. I missed him earlier in the year, and you mentioned him, Adam Dewey. I think he's probably as cheap as he's going to get again, Bogues. He has got the number 6 jersey back again. I don't know exactly how long he'll have that for or what's doing in terms of where Moses is or the injury or whatever's happened there. But I really still like Dewey, and the Tigers have a pretty nice run home. I know they're the Tigers, but Adam Dewey's only 517k. He's got an 84 break even, but a good matchup this week. But I was having a look at Dewey earlier in the week, and the Tigers, I think they play the Dogs twice. They play the Cowboys, the Warriors, the Eagles. I think they have one of the better runs home of any team in the comp. So I've held guys like Nofo. I might look at Dewey this week. I don't know what his ownership is. I think I'd have to assume he's pod now because he fell. Is he pod? 3.1%. That's massive. So I might bring Dewey in this week, I reckon, Bogues. That was I don't have many trades left, but that's what I'm looking at. Just need him to keep that 6 jersey. Obviously. What else? I don't think anyone's got Laurie, but I'll play Nuffo. I don't know. Whether you're going to maybe get on a Luciano at this point of the year in the back row. I think in the back row you've got to be looking at guys like Gus and Tohu when he comes back, and obviously David Fafita's got to be your number one priority if you don't have him. But given the Tigers run home, someone like Luciano wouldn't be a terrible shout either. I'll have a quick shout. I'm a big fan of Luciano, Bogues. I really enjoy watching him play, and I think he's an awesome young back rower. I'll just have a quick squeeze. And he does have a ceiling on him, Lucci. So he's 474k. He's not cheap. 6% ownership. Something different. Like I said, Tigers have got a nice run home, and he's really Supercoach friendly too. Breaks tackles, got an offload, can score tries. So here's a shout out to the Tigers, believe it or not. But it should be an interesting game. And to round off the round, it'll be the Bunnies taking on the Dogs in probably what's going to be the biggest slaughter of the week, assuming all the Bunnies back up. Whether or not the biggest turnaround of the week for the Bunnies Origin players is good or not. But, they've named Latrell. He's there. For mine, he was probably player of the series for New South Wales. I thought he was just consistently our best player across the 3 games. I know Turbo had a blinder and Teddy was quite good as well. But for me, Latrell was just unreal. But I think he'll have a big finish to the year, Bogues. I think if you are looking at a fullback, don't forget about this bloke. People will be looking at Ponga, but this bloke he's having a bit of a year. 530k. I mean, you compare that to Ponga at 680k. Playing the Bulldogs this week, they don't have a terrible run. They do play Para, Penrith, and the Chooks in the last 9 weeks. But next 3 weeks, South's got some lovely draw. If you got guys like Cody in your team, you got Alex Johnson, it sort of makes sense to maybe look at someone like Latrell. He's super cheap and he's got a massive ceiling, but he also, there's some question marks about if he can be a bit lazy, a bit missing, but I think he's turned a corner a little bit this year, and maybe off the back of Origin he's ready for a big run home to maybe make South make a good run for it to finish the year. Damien Cook should back up. He didn't play the full game. If you got Damien Cook, you're probably looking right there for DC. Cam Murray, not sure if he'll back up, but he did back up the other week and played quite well, scored a try as well. Tony Miller looks like he's got that wing spot, so anyone that held him's loving that. I don't know. You probably haven't missed the boat, but at this point of the year, I don't know if you're looking at Milne unless you're really looking to try and make some cash somewhere to get like a Fafita or someone in for something. He's 380k now. He went up 110k this week, and he has what's his break even? Negative 58. It's sort of irrelevant at this point, probably, unless you're trying to transition up to someone you got no money. You could jump on him and still get a little bit of coin out of him, but he's been pretty good. So yeah, anyone in that Bunny side this week, I think I'll probably have the C on Cody Bogues. But yeah, I think that'll be a good shout this week. pending weather or anything like that. I've got no idea what's going on with the weather up there. Dog side, geez, I don't know.
don't
We've said it.
don't fucking pick any of them.
I think for the last 8 weeks we've just sort of said it's like Luke Thompson would be about it because he's got the duality and you can pick him in the front row. In a front row that's not amazing, but he's just going to get you that 50 to sort of 65-ish, give or take. Doesn't have much else in him. Doesn't, but the Dogs, they were pretty good. Bit better against the Chooks last week, but yeah, I expect this will be the biggest margin around this one. So yeah. And that is what will be round 18, folks. Just looking at the chat. What have we got? Chris Kohler. So out of Marnie, Frizzell, or Stags, which two should I get in the next 2 weeks? I wouldn't mind. What's Marnie? What's Marnie worth? I'm not actually sure what Reed Marnie's actually worth. 465. Wow, he is super cheap, isn't he? 10%. 42 break even. I think Marnie's probably a good option of one of them, and then a bit of a coin toss for Frizzell and Stags. Frizzell's obviously in a better side with a bit more attacking threat out there. You've got KP running around. Might offer a little bit more as well. 568k. That's sort of 50k difference. 4%, 4.5% ownership for Frizzell. And Newcastle do have a good run home. So I don't know. I guess just go with your gut, I reckon, Chris. None of those guys are bad options, I reckon, for the run home. Shout out Damon. How you going? Evening, mate. Yeah, I think that's not much else doing. Damon. I'm looking at a cheaper centre wing. Milne, Young, Nofo best, all my radar. Nofo's super cheap, and as I mentioned earlier, Tigers with a run home. I think I bought Nofo at like 500 something K, thinking it was cheap then. He's now about 380, and yeah, I like the Tigers run home, but I think any of those guys are pretty good. Best might be still a few weeks away, but if you're looking for something for this week, yeah, Nofo and Milne probably as Ados mentioned. What else have we got, folks?
The leagues, and I got my mic on this week, so.
Oh yeah, that was
people were disappointed that they
I saw Benny's comment last week about all that.
So let's go into the leagues. There was obviously no draft this week because of the bye round, but good because I don't want to look at the results for that. But the group for the week was Far Q All, Michael, and he got nearly tonned up. Followed by the Wicked Horde, Frank. He's got 961. The Screaming Eagles of Brian. He's popped up in our top 10s a fair few times with a 917. Avalon Storm, Jason, he got a 908. And Wayno, Hell's Granny's got an 896. That was the top 5 for the group for the week.
I'd be remiss if it's not a shout out for young Daniel, 2 girls, 1 KFC bucket as well. Shout out Danos, good score in the bye week, young lad. Big finish there on home, mate. Make sure you get inside that top 10k and maybe in the 5k. I might try and track you down now, bud. But a good score in the bye week, and also Bundy, mate of mine. Pretty cracking scores. Dropped himself in at 316. We'll probably see him a bit later. I'd imagine he's in our.
I mentioned Jason Avalon Storm. He's sitting at 130.
So that name is not familiar. I don't know if he's a recent join in, but Avalon Storm isn't one of.
Maybe he's joined in just to try and sneak that one number 1 spot at the tail end of the season.
Wants to be during GameDay glory. I mean, you go back to that, Bogues. Go back to that for a sec. I mean, look at his team value, 14.2 million. He's head and shoulders ahead of all the others. He's obviously got on the right guys at the right time and used his cash well. And it's pretty much, the value of team correlates with position on the ladder. Apart from the Wicked Horde, you got to look at Bundy at 13.7 million, sitting at 300 overall. Wicked Horde's obviously at 3.8 and he's 8k, but yeah, good use of the money there from the boys.
Welcome to the group, Jason, if you are new.
Yeah, welcome, mate. Well done. Looking for a big finish of the year, onwards and upwards, top 100, mate, and beyond.
But overall, still Smick Richards. Brendan, he's in the top 20.
19. Wow, massive. Well done, Smith.
Followed by Avalon Storm, who we just talked about. He's in second.
Yeah, I reckon we haven't seen that name, I don't reckon, this year.
Unless he's come out of nowhere, but yeah.
Maybe. I could be wrong. So apologies, Jason, if you've been for a bit, but I don't remember seeing that.
Jimbo, James, sitting in 202nd position. James's second team. Oh, well, that's it. He's disqualified. He's got two teams. With perpetual motion, he's sitting in 268. And you mentioned your mate Bundy. Bundy, who's also in the draft, I believe. He's sitting in 316th.
He was last year. He didn't get the call up this year because he went shit.
Well, he might be in it next year if he keeps going the way he's going.
Still a few other familiar names in there, better than standouts been sort of floating around. Damo, shout out, brother, he's in there. Burjo's Bulldogs, he's still plugging away there. 658, like probably about ballparkish, maybe a little bit under this week, but you'll take that top 500 for the run home, mate. Looking good. Good luck for the run home.
All right. Next up was the BJ All In. So hoping Cogra, Frank, he's been around a while. He's got 863, and he just got up over some numpty in second spot that I don't have to mention. In third spot, SpongeBob Cumpants, winner of this year's best name, 8 with an 813. Extra Reckless Alex with the lucky sevens, and Josh King on the comeback.
Hey.
In the top 5 with 745.
Shout out to the King. I haven't seen that name for a while. I'm just having a look at how many points. So Frankie's in the top 5k. Geez, I'm 450 off the top 5k. That's going to be tough. But, I like the depth in my side and got a couple trades and a few pods in one. So, yeah, not disgusting. I don't mind it. We'll see what happens, eh? Yeah, I'll take probably top 5k, I reckon. That'll have to be the new goal.
All right, so now we start to talk about it. Where do you want to be now if you're still in with a shot? Top 3k? Top 4k?
Oh, nah. There's too much of a gap now. There's the guys that are leading. There's like a big gap. It's sort of like, I don't know.
So exactly you want to be in the top. You want to be in the top 1,000.
Oh, I think even top 1,000 now. Like if you're probably the guy leading's on 22,500. If you jump down to the top 100, so 100 positions, 600 points behind him now. So if you're 1,000, like if you're 1,000 points behind now, you're no chance. And 1,000 points behind is like top 2, maybe top 300 at this point.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit more, top 350, or maybe say top 400.
So you want to be in that top 300.
Oh, you probably need to be in the top.
Come on, keep the hope alive, Breno.
Yeah, fuck. Like you'd be struggling. I mean, that's the guy in first, and anything can happen. People will probably burn through trades, and if injuries start to happen, who knows? But there's a 200-point gap between fourth and first, which is pretty significant. So, I mean, that can change pretty easy week to week with the right captains, and obviously in a year like this year with some of the scoring that's been happening. But when you've got guys like Cleary out and a couple of guys without the ceiling, so like Pappy's out, who knows? It could be, like I said, someone like Ponga can make that ground up pretty quickly. You'll be looking at some of these guys with the ceilings and have a crack. Shout out, though, to one of the boys in the Turbos Hammies Cup, is the Villy Army. He's currently sitting in ninth. So Timmy, part of the Supercoach experience, shout out to him. He's sitting in ninth at the moment. and he's on 22,299. So he's about 200 and what is he? Oh, 230 odd behind first, and even that, like, it's make upable. But I mean, there's a long way to go. We're only a third of the way through. But I reckon if you're outside the top 250, just because there seems to be a bit of a bigger gap now between some of these top teams, you probably, well, if you won from this point of view from the top two, from outside the top.
I disagree. If you're still in the top 100,000, you still got a shot. Make sure you tune in every week and watch the show.
But
Brent, don't listen to Brent because we'll only have fucking one viewer next week.
Look, I must admit, I've just stumbled across a team in 250th, and this is controversial. The name is Living to Vita Loca. Ados, if you're listening, mate, go and have a look at the bloke in 250th overall. Look, what's doing? There needs to be an investigation into there because it is dead set the exact same as your name, mate. What's happening?
Anyways,
there's still the weeklies up for grabs and all that sort of stuff, and obviously cashies and head-to-head finals will start in the next few weeks. So, we're all here till the end. I'm not going to throw.
Well done to Frank, Hope and Cogra. He's always up there every week. The Invitational was obviously won by Hell's Grannies. We mentioned Wayno earlier in the group, followed by Daniel with two girls, one KFC bucket, Bundy, and then someone who doesn't need to be mentioned, and then Call Me Big Puppy.
Jesus Christ, I'm 1,300 points behind Bundy. That is sick. Holy dooly. Oh, how far am I behind Kando? 600. Ooh. I wonder. Kando will be burning through those trades. You'd be burning through the trades. You'd have none left. He'd be nearly out, I reckon, Kandos. If any more injuries start to happen, it's going to be interesting finish of the year.
And that's it for the week. Quick one.
That is it. Well, look, not gonna lie, probably not upset about that at this point. Coming top 10,000, that's the best I've been ranked for the last 8 months. Good luck this week. It's Paulo forcing another one. Oh, you'll be going to Haas then. You'll be going straight to Haas. There's a pod I won't have. Look, shout out to everyone that joined us this week. I don't think there's much doing in the chat. All the boys are just, the usual banter. Good luck with your trades, whatever you're going to do, whether you're going to save or not. Like I said, there's still, a whole 8 weeks to go, basically. Or, a whole third to go. So everything we've seen happen up until this point, there's still half of that left to go. So
petition the NRL to get soft on headshots again, because we need some injuries to make it interesting now.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Shout out to the Turbo Hammies Cup. If you're not following that one, go and check that one out. I'm fucking going terrible in that as well. But you can go and see all your favourite podcasters that, competing in there. Shout out to Ados and his Adrianosaurus Rex on SoundCloud.
Continuing to go strong. Released another episode today.
Stories. Fuck me, the stories. Have you heard some of the stories? Oh, for fuck's sake. You've got to go and listen to some of these stories. There's a couple standouts for me. He's done some good ones, but the massage, he was a masseuse at one point. Oh, fuck, that one's pearl. You've got to go and have a listen to the masseuse one. I don't know what episode it is. You got to start. I don't know. You're gonna have to index them because there's a fucking couple of pearls. The one, the drunk walk home one's still a good one for mine. And the one he did just recently was pretty good. About a pool tournament, but the fucking masseuse one, oh fuck, that was a funny one too. Anyway, shout out to Ados, Adrianosaurus Rex. I don't know what else is doing, boys. You want to shout anything else out while we're here?
Not really. Don't listen to anything I say about footy at all. But yeah.
Yeah, I think they already weren't doing that, so that's right. Me either. They just come to laugh at what we're talking about, I guess. But yeah, cheers, legends, all in the chat. Thanks for joining us again, our loyal, as always.
like, rate, subscribe, share. We've went down in subscribers, Breno. It's on a downward path, mate. We were hoping to get to that 500 mark. We were 6 people off, and now we're 10 people off. It's gone backwards.
Fucking hell. That's fucked. Oh well. Well, didn't you say there was someone else that started up this year that's already gone past us or something?
Yeah, shout out to a man talks NRL Supercoach.
That's it.
Who he's a nice guy though. Follow him on Twitter. But yeah, it's a bit disheartening when you have someone just waltz in and automatically smash you.
I think he's actually in the group chat we've got on Messenger now as well. But I'll have to have a look. I must admit, I don't consume a whole lot of Supercoach content. I just like Supercoach. So,
mate, I'm just here to fuck around with logos and hit the buttons. So
we probably need a bit of eye candy on the show just for something, because we obviously don't put out good enough content. I mean, we might just need it.
Well, one of the what was it? Who had the sex scandal last year from the Broncos?
Oh, Stags.
Yeah, that was one of our highest rated episodes because we had the picture of
the thumbnail.
Yeah, picture of the chick with the clevo out in the thumbnail, and the fucking views went through the roof. That's what we need. Maybe that's what we need. A rugby league girl of the week that we put in the thumbnail.
We'll give Hannah Hollis a call, maybe Lara Pitt or someone like that. We'll see how we go. Alana Ferguson.
Bring back the cheerleaders. That's what I say. We could have a picture of one of them every week.
Yeah, sounds good. But yeah, as always, legends, thanks for joining us. Good luck with your trades this week. Good luck with your captaincy options, whatever you're doing. May the trade gods be kind. Ados, we'll get a co-host on next week. Ados will co-host in the nude. Fucking hell, that massage one. You gotta go listen to it, Bugs. It's a fucking fella.
Oh, mate, I'd steal that episode where he was just completely pissed. And he fucking put the boot into the night, something shocking. I was in stitches the whole way through. And he pulled the show, but he put it back up. But, yeah, it's a fantastic show, Adrianosaurus Rex. And, yeah, maybe I'll just start downloading Adrian's show and I'll put it up on our channel. That'll get us over the fucking 500.
Oh, we should be featuring his stories, obviously. Just give them a play. Like, they're fucking that funny. We'll have to sort something out. They're too good for the masses not to be.
Adrianosaurus on SoundCloud and on Spotify, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ados. But, yeah, go and check him out.
Yeah, that's it for us this week, guys. Thanks for joining us, Bogan. Good work, love your work as always, mate. And I'll do it all again next week, okay?
Yep.